Welcome back to Not Gospel, y'all. I'm Cliff Williams, a.k.a.
Cliffy. No.
Oh, that's
Was it
the
you
one that we
who
can't
hated?
do.
That was the one that you hated.
Only one person has ever called me Cliffy in my life, and the police still haven't found the body. All right, Joel. I got a question for you.
Here it is. I don't know.
Burning question for you.
Yes.
All right. What is your biggest fear? What's the one thing that's your biggest fear right now?
Man, I thought this was going to be funny.
It can be.
No, this is not funny.
All right, three biggest fears.
Okay, I would probably...
All right, hold on. Let's make it funny. One legitimate fear.
Okay.
One big fear.
That's going to be enough to just ruin the whole thing.
One irrational fear.
I am terrified of looking like an idiot in front of a lot of people, which is odd that I'm doing a podcast.
Okay, hold on. Wait. So you are afraid.
I am afraid of looking like an idiot in front of people. Now, that can be in like a lot of situations. So let's say I'm out in public and a stranger is like rude to me in front of people. That's not going to go well at all, and it's not a good reaction.
It flips a switch in you?
It flips a switch in me. It flips the bullied kid switch, and that is not a good switch.
Oh, it flips your victim switch?
Yeah, but like it's not like a blue-haired victim. It's
okay.
It's like an actual
a legitimate.
It's a legitimate
right.
thing.
This is getting real.
Oh, gosh.
Was that the irrational?
That was the irrational one.
Okay, so my irrational fear,
Yeah.
I am afraid of small rodents.
Okay.
Irrational fear of small rodents and anything that moves sneaky in a sneaky manner. I can't stand frogs. I can't stand lizards. I can't stand. I would rather see an alligator.
Yeah.
Like in a pond.
Yeah.
That I was around than you tell me there was a mouse somewhere in this room.
Dude.
It freaks. I can't help it. I will scream like a little girl.
Really?
Yeah. If I'm editing videos late at night and I hear somewhere in the room, I stop everything and I'm like, is that a mouse?
Man, I wonder.
There's nothing I can do about it.
See, I wish I had. I don't know. My fear stuff is so deep seated into my weird childhood, though. That's like a lot of it. Like if you told me, okay, this is one. If you told me. So here's what's weird. All like when I started first dealing with all the suicidal stuff, like 2014, dude, that pretty much got rid of every other fear that I ever had. If you told me that like, hey, in 5 minutes, my ex that kind of caused a lot of that is going to walk through, that is such a trigger for me. I would be like, dude, I will literally give you $5,000 right now to make that not happen. Wow. If that was going to happen, probably something like that. But I think it's number one fear would probably be what that's related to is like to have regret. Gotcha. I don't like regret, and I don't like that I can look back at this relationship that was supposed to be awesome and I screwed it up. Okay. Regret is my number one fear.
Okay.
Yeah, that was heavy.
No. I mean, my legit like number one fear, other than we're taking fear of God out of the equation. We're believers, and fear of God is fear of God. He's the Almighty Creator. So yeah, that's the number one. But outside of that, because everybody could default to that, my biggest fear is that I'm a bad dad. That's a big fear that I have. That it's a driving point for a lot of my decision making. It's one of the reasons why I don't get as many videos and stuff done. Yeah. It's because I will almost always, if my son comes in there and says, hey, you want to play checkers? You want to play whatever? I will almost always be like, sure. Just stop and go. Dude. Because in my head, it'll hit like, am I ignoring my kid? Am I being a bad dad? Blah, 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 blah.
I feel like that's healthy, though. And that's a good way to keep you in check, as long as it's not like super, like as long as it's managed, because that's going to make you be a good dad.
I hope so. Because I've said for a while, I feel like hopefully if you're one sign of a good parent is you think you're getting it wrong. Hopefully, because at least you have the wherewithal to know that it's something to be concerned about.
And this is not a joke, but like my parents literally, like they were like they could do no wrong, and
Oh, dude.
royally just, I mean, I can't think of a more messed up situation.
So good parenting. We've talked a little bit on this before. Good parenting, I feel like is you take the things you liked from your parenting, and then you do more of that, and the things you didn't like from your parents, you do less of that. One of the things I don't ever remember my parents, and they love me. They're awesome. They're both alive, and mom and dad, you guys are the best. Love you, but
not up theirs.
Yeah, not up theirs. But one of the things that I don't remember happening often is my parents ever saying, "I'm sorry, I got that wrong. I messed that up."
Yeah.
And so that's one of the things that I'm quick to do with my kids. If I ever feel like I overreact or I do something wrong with them, I always have to sit them down. I'm like, listen, I'm sorry. This is daddy's first time at being a parent. I don't get everything right.
Yeah.
Thank you for being patient. You know, I overreacted about this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And I think that has helped me kind of foster a different type of relationship with my kids. It's been awesome.
What a good lesson for them too, when they're doing something stupid in 20 years and they're like, you know what, I'm going to stop this. This is destructive. I'm not going to let my pride just push through, because man, pride is the enemy.
Pride's the devil, son.
Pride will ruin everything.
That's that straight devil. If you got that pride in your heart.
I would love to talk to someone that I consider like dysfunctional, and like that does not deal with their problems and figure out what they would think their number one fear is, because I guarantee you it's not being a bad mom or a bad dad.
Oh, dude,
I guarantee that's not even on their radar.
In victim culture, I hate to say this, but I would love to talk to the individual whose biggest fear is like white supremacy, let's say. I would love to talk to the very, very conservative person whose biggest fear is the government taking away all of their stuff and taking away all their rights. I would love to sit down and talk with them and say, that matters more to you. That existential thing, like this outside thing, is something for you to be more afraid of than this and this and this that you're possibly screwing up.
I know people on both sides of the spectrum, and the way they post, I can probably tell you I know what their biggest fear is. Your fear is about your own failure as a person, and mine is too, because we are able to look into that and say, but it's hard to turn a mirror on yourself.
Dude, well, it's simple. It's something as simple as restating this. Like, I've heard this a lot. People have said this is their fear. My fear is being alone. My fear of winding up alone, not having anybody, and just winding up alone. And my thought is, okay,
that bad.
Okay, it's not that bad. You know, like,
it's really not bad.
I'm pretty fond of me.
I'm doing good.
No, so like, but that's a fear. But think about restating that and reclaiming that and saying, my biggest fear is that I would drive away anyone who's good for me.
There's the solution.
So then it's like, if that's your fear, that can motivate you to be a better individual. It can motivate you to be, as grandma would say, if you want friends, show yourself friendly. You know, kind of thing. Like, it can motivate you to be a genuinely better person, treat other people better, if the fear is kind of recalibrated. Instead of saying, I'm afraid that no one is ever going to, I'm never going to find somebody, then that blames some kind of thing like fate or whatever.
Yes.
As opposed to saying,
dude, this is what's interesting. Before 2014, when I really faced all that hard suicidal stuff, my fear was never getting married. That was a legitimate, and the reason being, my family was so messed up, I wanted one of my own. And here I am facing what, if you told 22-year-old me that 30-year-old me was going to be single, I would be like, that's the worst thing ever. But now, and I've kind of dealt with that, and it's not even a fear. Now, like, a healthier fear is like, well, I don't want to I don't want to live with regret.
Yeah.
And so that's very proactive to me. Okay, as opposed to the existential, well, that I might never get married.
Yeah.
I can't control that.
It feels like you don't have to claim responsibility. I'm a perfectly good person, a perfectly good candidate for marriage.
Yeah.
I'm afraid I'll never find that person, though, who what is it? Appreciates who I am.
Biggest fear, like I said, biggest fear now is probably is that don't want to live with regret, but don't want to take the actions that will severely negatively affect myself and others.
blue hair SJW theory, what it means, go.
Okay, so basically it's another term for somebody that has been really, and this is serious, this is not the joke, this is very serious and sad. Someone who has had a really, really hard life. They've been hurt by basically everybody in their life. And so their perspective on the world, politics, friendships, everything is skewed.
Okay.
And so what they tend to do is blame everyone, get in a relationship, just get on any one of these social justice warriors like Facebook walls if they're public. You'll see it's a madhouse. It's like, it's always, especially like people that claim extreme leftism, it's just like dysfunction. They're always screaming about, oh, my boyfriend cheated on me or my whatever non-binary. Okay. So, and what's interesting is I've had this theory forever. I was like, I remember in high school, 2005. I went to public high school for the first time as a sophomore. And I remember, because I was at a private school before that, and I remember there were these girls. And I say this as not a joke. This is not a joke.
Okay.
There were either extremely underweight or extremely overweight. They had like dyed hair, and they would date and talk about these dudes that would abuse them, that would take advantage of them in every way possible. And I think what happened is those girls grew up, and they're 30 now.
Okay.
And they just, the reason Donald Trump triggers them and the left so much is because he comes across as like that abusive boyfriend, the abusive boyfriend, the abusive father that was never there for them. The whole theory comes down to when people are going through a really hard time, the blue hair thing. Dude, when I went through the suicidal stuff, I dyed my hair black for 7 years. People now just cannot believe this is my natural hair. They thought it was black. Because when people go through a really, really hard time, they tend to dye their hair to try to control or change something. Now, when they go a step further into non-natural colors, that's when you know they're really going through something. I say that as not a joke.
So you're saying that having the leader of the free world, your president, be essentially another iteration of
the guy that was mean to you.
The guy or the individual who was mean to you and picked on you.
Yeah.
The majority of your developing life.
Yes.
That's what caused them to just freak out and have these 3-minute long videos where they're screaming and crying and need safe places. And
he's that dude returned. But who else do you get to drain the swamp in Hollywood and to kick butt and take names?
And so that would also make sense to say how he's irredeemable in their eyes.
He's irredeemable, but then but it also comes to like these people, dude, they have been so damaged by life. They just talk about other people all the time and trash talk. So they're not skilled. They don't know how to research things, which is why they're usually working in lower end places. And they live with their parents still at this phase of whatever. I can tell you, I can go through my Facebook friends list, and that describes pretty much every single situation.
Blue-haired SJW, really damaged.
Yes.
Really damaged and grown up. Now they're grown up. Educated.
Yes. Not necessarily. No.
In the right way or the wrong way, or just
wrong? They've been doing this can sound so judgmental, but they've just been kind of working these lower end jobs because they had a kid when they were like age 19 and the dude left.
All right, so
and I get that point to say, in my opinion, when you have been so damaged by life, dude, when I was suicidal, I was so angry, I stopped believing in God. It screws with your perspective. I was liberal in like 2016. I claimed a lot of that stuff. Your perspective when people get damaged, I know I don't mean to make this political, but I think the left just caters towards you've been damaged your whole life.
Well, I mean, it is the leftist idea, I believe, celebrates victimhood a lot. I mean, obviously.
Yes, you've been a victim, so everybody come to our country. Don't worry about the border security. Don't even research it. Just try to be compassionate because everyone hurt you in your life. But while being compassionate, make sure to hate everybody.
What frustrates me about like the virtues of victimhood, or making even being a victim of virtue itself, what frustrates me about it is that all of the most brilliant thinkers that you'll find, when you dive into the psychologists and the psychoanalysts over and the philosophers, they all agree on one thing about life, is that life itself does not guarantee you love. It doesn't guarantee you happiness or any of that. Well, the only thing that's guaranteed is suffering. Yep. Yes. The act of birth itself, there's a theory going on that a lot of people subscribe to, that birth is the most traumatic experience a human ever has. Just being born, going from the womb into this world, is the most traumatic experience you will ever encounter. And so there's no guarantee that you're ever going to experience love. You're ever going to be happy. The only guarantee is that you are going to suffer. Because if you live long, you're either going to die from an unnatural cause or a natural cause if you live long enough. And there's going to be pain. You're going to have some element of suffering. You're going to lose someone that you care about. Or you're never going to care about someone and suffer loneliness. That suffering is the only guarantee in life. Now, people would hear that and be like, oh, gosh, this guy's like... this guy's a doomsday. No, I'm not a doomsday prophet. I say that to let people know that we're all victims of life. Every single one of us is a victim of life.
And in order to get out of those circumstances, you have to work your butt off. The hardest thing I ever did was try to get out of that suicidal thing. Took me 5 years. The journey really started to finally see progress after 5 years of work, when I jumped on the tour bus with you guys in 2019. That's when I was like, okay, this is what you need to be doing. It's hard, dude. And that's the thing. That's the problem with these people. They've never worked for everything's been like, okay, well, I'm going to go smoke weed to get away from my problems. I'm going to go get drunk. And that's all they ever did. And so they're just not used to working for things.
Dude, this brings me to an interesting thought. I was going to do a video on this, just a little PSA on this myself, but it's something we should talk about now. Yeah. The inclusion of toxic people in your life, and why you hold on to them, why you don't let go of toxic people. A lot of times, dude, first off, okay, defining toxic people. In my opinion, there's two types of toxic people. Okay. There's the ones that are always negative about everything you try to do to better yourself. Something good happens in your life. I got a good tax return. I tell somebody and they're like, oh, great. And it's like feigning enthusiasm, but they wish it happened to them.
So glad you got more money.
They're the people that a toxic person is someone who never celebrates your successes, who doesn't promote you and your successes, who always is on the negative, like, oh, well, you can't do that, naysaying your goals or whatever. That's one type of toxic person. And there's another type of toxic person, which is sort of a passive kind of toxicity. It's somebody that doesn't have any goals, doesn't have any ambitions, has no motivations, and has no prospects, and doesn't care, and is fine. And
nihilist.
And you keep them around for whatever reason, because you're thinking, hey, I'm going to help them. I'm going to encourage them. Yeah. You tell yourself you're keeping them around to better them, to help them, to encourage them. Yeah. And I don't think that that's really what's going on. I think one of the reasons we're holding on to toxic people, those types of people, is because it makes us feel better about not having goals.
Yes.
It's very easy to be goalless. It's very easy to sit around and be like, I don't have to achieve. I'll do that tomorrow. Like you said,
everybody when the Breonna Taylor riot things, dude, all those people I just described run down there because finally we have a purpose. Gosh, it's not a joke. I get to get away from Taco Bell. I'm so tired of being a manager there, and my kids can stay with the mom or whatever. Yeah. I'm going down to actually feel like I'm doing something important because I have no community and all my friends are terrible.
Yeah.
I promise.
I get to be part of something big.
And why I make the joke when I say move out of your parents' basement and your perspective will change. What that means is if you start to improve your life just a little bit, I promise you, your opinion on Donald Trump is going to change.
Yeah.
I know I make a lot of Joe Biden jokes. I don't hate Joe Biden. I don't. I don't think it's great for America, but Dude,
I don't hate. There's no reason to hate Joe Biden because he's just, and to me, he's just this empty political puppet.
But Obama was also really inflammatory on his second election towards Republicans. I didn't hate him then.
Yeah.
But the hate that these people had towards Donald Trump, dude, it was triggering. Like, you would think there are people in my life who have so wronged me, and like those people trigger me like hardcore. Donald Trump, who they have never met in their lives, triggers them the way that these people who have personally offended me. It's just odd. And I don't mean to put this us versus them thing, but this is why I lean towards the right and conservativeness,
well, dude,
or ism, or whatever.
It's, I think any real thinker, like conscientious thinker, doesn't want to believe that they're being like duped or brainwashed, right? And so to me, the whole idea that the MAGA hats and MAGA merchandise was tied to racism, was a symbol of racial oppression, to me is just like an obvious, like one of the simplest examples of sort of like a political cultural brainwashing. Because Make America Great Again, in no way, shape, or form in anything that I've seen of Donald Trump was that ever meant Make America Great Again for white people. It's and in fact,
that's what the news said.
Historically, Democrat presidents have said that exact same statement. Right. I believe if you look back and track it, you'll find where it wasn't Carter, but I know that even Bill Clinton said it while he's president, to make America great again, that kind of thing. That those ideas have been, and Joe Biden's doing one right now, Build Back Better. That's what he's saying. We're going to build back better. You're making America great again.
It's the same thing, but Joe Biden and the media doesn't enforce to these damaged people that this is your dad that hit you and left when you were 5 years old. Yeah, this is your boyfriend that did that thing to you that night that you'll never forget.
That's my deal with Joe Biden. Is there's nothing. He's just a product. He's just a hollow shell of a political figure, in my opinion. Yeah. He's literally just doing what he's told. He's an establishment politician. When I had Tim on the show, we said the same thing. There's nothing, I mean, what is there to him? He's just doing what he's told. He's not going to change or he's not making any big changes or anything like that. What he's doing is just the agenda of his group and his they're just throwing it out there. And I don't hate the guy. I didn't hate Obama. They're not my presidents.
That's what I'm saying. Generally speaking, I know there were a lot of conservatives that hated Obama. I know that for a fact. But the hate for conservative Obama versus the hate for Donald Trump, dude, is on another level.
The thing I'd love for people on the left to understand who really hated Trump and had this, what I call Trump delusion.
Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome, whatever it was. Yep. The thing I'd really want to say to them is think about how much of your feelings for Trump is just given to you by the media. You're just consuming it from what you watch. Think about how much of that, and think about how much of it is genuine from you and what you know versus just feelings you're told to have by the media.
I can sum it up in this one phrase. You are not mad at Donald Trump. You're mad that your dad left you when you were 3 years old, and you never dealt with that.
So the hatred for Donald Trump, all of this is kind of time sensitive right now. Like, it's important because April 23rd, the official audit of the 2020 election started in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know if you heard anything about that. The official audit of the 2020 election started in Arizona on April 23rd. Okay. And supposedly, allegedly, the Democrat Party sent 70 different legal representatives to try and shut down the audit.
I'm telling you, man.
And it's happening anyways. So what's going to happen? They're going to find these proven voter irregularities. There are some voter irregularities that have been proven. They're going to find this stuff. It's not going to be enough to overturn any kind of election or something like that. No. But what it will do, I believe, is be enough to get these key states the leeway they need to enforce things like voter ID for the next election. And you have to have that.
Here's the message that I hope that the SJW religion 20-year-old will see. Your party is not the party of virtue.
No.
It is not the saving grace of the world, is not the Democratic and the Liberal Party. It's not the Conservative Party. Conservatives don't claim that. Liberals absolutely claim that. Dude, absolutely claim that.
It is. So it's not either. I've said this before over and over and over. You're not latching onto a morally sound party, either one of them. You're not latching onto, well, we are the most virtuous moral party. You're not. It's just not happening. You're latching on to certain policies. That's all you're doing. And that's what you're signing up for the next 4 years.
2016, that's when I had been fighting the suicidal stuff for 2 years, and I came to a point where I just said, this God stuff is not real. And I stopped everything. And I had about 3 years. I had 2 years before that to really think hard, but I had 3 years to really, dude, the way I described it is just like there's a room, and my room was my life. There was furniture that was my life. That bottom fell out and there was nothing in there. So I had to open that door and see nothing, and I had to put one thing back in there at a time and really establish why I believe what I believe.
Listen, like, comment, subscribe, do all the things, hit the notification bell. Thank you so much if you're a subscriber. We're trying to grow the channel. Share it with your friends, with your enemies.
That's right, especially with your enemies.
Share it with somebody that you think it would just tweak their gourd, and that would make me happy. And keep being awesome, because that's how you made you.